Gabiane Autorai de Pnitet Stanislaus County. Gubaya Rashmaya da Rishmishta Alan at Atrat America in presidential elections ila يوم 5 de Teshrin Treyana. قانونايت صدرت جوباية باشم شودرا ببوستا من يوم تشوى دي تشرين قمايا هل يوم إسريخا دي تشرين قمايا قد هدريتون شموخ جابياتي عزيتون الويب سايت theregistertovote.ca.gov مصيتون مدريتون جوباية ببوستا ينجو صندوق رشمايا ينجو قنطرون دي جوباية داها بنيتا أبزي ماسيتون عزيتون برسوبايت الخا قنطرون رشمايا قداها بنيتا قدن قنطرون رشمايا ماسيتون خا مدريتون قباية بوستا تري هدريتون شموخون قا قباية طلا طلبيتون هيرتا قا ترجمتا بليشانا آتورايا وسدرا قباية بليشانا آتورايا ين أربا طلبيتون هيرتا قا رشمتا قباية قداها سدرا.
Welcome to the Modern Assyrian on Assyrian Global Network. My name is Carmen Morad. We are just weeks away from the 2024 presidential election. And as you know, a lot of attention goes into presidential elections. However, we still have a voice and we can vote on our local candidates and local propositions and what I call quality of life issues. I am so excited to have our guest, Assemblyman Adam Gray, on the program tonight. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's so nice to be back with you.
Absolutely. This is your second visit with our program. We spoke 2 years ago. I want to begin by thanking you for making time out of your extremely busy schedule, especially tonight. Let us know where you are. And again, thank you for squeezing us in and giving us the opportunity to have a conversation with you and the Assyrian community.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm appearing here via my truck out in Los Banos, California, where we've been out knocking on doors and talking to voters, and apologize for the dark setting, but didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk to you and your viewers.
Well, it's much appreciated. You know, let's get right down to it. I want to talk about and really get your view on this rematch as being called 2 years ago. We had you on the program. We talk about all the issues. We talk about how important local politics can be. It's not always the top of the ticket as much as that gets all the attention. But this rematch of yours is being called such a consequential election, as we call the entire thing. But this rematch between you and the representative John Duarte could actually be the deciding factor of balance of power in House of Representatives. What do you make of that attention?
Well, I mean, it certainly is a consequential election, both at the national level, but really even more importantly here at the local level. And what I mean by that is, we've had the most unproductive Congress in U.S. history, and that's not some talking point. That's a fact. You can see it on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, whatever you watch. You can find out that this has been the most unproductive Congress. They literally have done nothing in the last 2 years. And, we deserve a Congress that works hard for us. I mean, the Central Valley is one of the hardest working places in the country. And during my 10 years in the legislature, each and every year, we passed bills. We brought money home to the district. We built a medical school at UC Merced. We built a bipartisan water bond, infrastructure act, roads, education, water projects. This is the job. We elect people to city council, supervisor, members of Congress to work for us, right? And too often in today's political world, everybody's telling us they're fighting for us, right? I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for that. Well, we need somebody that does some work for us. And that's why I'm running for Congress, is because we're going to send someone to Congress and send a message to Congress that they need to get back to work.
Absolutely. The Central Valley is such a unique place. California having the third largest economy, I want to say as big as a country. with all that we have, with all the resources that we still have individuals in the Central Valley, in the, I want to say 13th district, that are struggling. Uh, we want to talk about affordable housing. We want to talk about healthcare. We want to talk about the economy. Of course, immigration is always an issue, and it's not always what is as a talking point. For example, for the Assyrian community, immigration is a matter of life and death. When we have members of the Christian Assyrian community fleeing for their lives, and just as it is for other immigrants who want a better life as they come to this country. But one of the things that Assemblyman Gray, that I always want to inform our viewers is, how do we inform and educate ourselves on the quality of life issue as we vote for them? We have the legislative bills that you talked about, which is about helping everybody with water issues, which is the lifeline of the Central Valley. But we also need help on healthcare, on our seniors' care. We need affordable housing, the economy, the inflation. Which of the propositions that are on the ballot in November do you want to see passed?
Well, look, I'm a big supporter of education. I know there's an education bond on the statewide ballot, and we need to invest more in our children and our future, right? And you talk about the economy and the Central Valley, and our unemployment rate in many of our counties in the San Joaquin Valley is more than double the national average. Right, so we need people in elected office that are actually working to create jobs, make investments in infrastructure, both water, public transit, but also education infrastructure and healthcare, right? Growing UC Merced so that we can grow new industries and new jobs, high paying jobs in the Valley, is extraordinarily important. Funding big infrastructure projects like water storage is important. It creates jobs and real opportunity. And making sure that, every kid in the Valley gets an opportunity to get a great public education and stay and contribute and give back. Those are the things we need our elected officials doing. And unfortunately, what we've had these past 2 years is a Congress that just fights and yells and blames everybody else and gets nothing done, right? And that's not going to improve things here. And frankly, any of these politicians that run around telling you they're going to lower your costs are just being dishonest, right? What we need is folks that are going to make investments, better education, better health care, make health care more affordable by making sure that Social Security is protected, Medicare is protected, the Affordable Care Act is protected. These are the kind of actions we need to see. And unfortunately, our current congressman has, voted to cut Medicare and Social Security and has failed to invest in things like UC Merced and the medical school and infrastructure. And so we just got to make a change. There's two themes in election: change and more of the same. And I think given the state of the economy and the challenges that many Valley families are facing, we don't need more of the same. It's time for change.
Agreed. Let's talk about the rematch election as we're talking. It was so close, and I followed it. I think it was 526 votes or some odd number like that.
That's
But
right.
we do know that in the presidential election, there is a larger turnout. In fact, I've already got my ballot at home. So there is an opportunity for our viewers, whether they choose to, after watching more and more our interviews within our community, to cast their ballot, mail it back in, or if they choose to go to a vote center and vote. But these propositions are one of the things that I get a lot of calls on, Assemblyman. We are bombarded by advertising. And one of the things that I talk about, what is the difference between a legislative bill and a proposition? And one of the questions that comes up with propositions is, who authored it, who financed it, and who benefits from it? And when we have these advertising, these ads, whether it's on television, social media, or in our mailboxes, how do we decipher, for example, Proposition 33, Proposition 34, and then yes and no? How do you recommend that constituents and voters find out about which is the best outcome and how they benefit from these propositions?
Every voter is sent a voter pamphlet from the state and the county covering all of the initiatives, the candidates. It has statements written by the candidates, and it has summaries with the pros and cons of each initiative. And I recommend voters take a look at that. That's a nonpartisan set of information that you can take in both sides and make decisions for yourself. You can certainly also, go to the websites and look at the campaign materials. But at the end of the day, some of these initiatives are extraordinarily critical to our community. And, a good example is our district attorneys and our sheriffs are supporting Prop 36 this year, which is an attempt to deal with the break-ins and the theft and the petty theft and some of the issues we've seen in our communities around crime. Everybody wants to live in a safe community, and I'm certainly proud to have the support and endorsement of Sheriff Jeff Dirksey and Sheriff Warnke and our district attorney in Merced County, Nicole Silvera, and I'm standing side by side with them trying to campaign to support initiatives that are going to make our communities safer.
Thank you. Jeff Dirksey has been on this program before, and he is such a wonderful source of information with questions and answers. And we always talk about homelessness. 2 years ago, when we were interviewing our candidates, there was talk about homelessness encampments. And since then, the governor of our governor, California, Governor Newsom, has jumped in with so many different executive actions and removal of encampments. Where do we stand with that? And how do we decipher how the billions of dollars are being spent? And are they really going to where they should be going?
Well, I think we need to spend a lot more time reviewing and accounting for some of the monies we've spent in this state on these efforts and looking at the end result, right? We spent money with the intention of accomplishing these goals and solving these problems, and did that in fact happen? When I was in the state legislature, I was the chairperson of the Joint Legislative Audit Committee, and we would actually go in and audit state programs to see if they were effective and see where improvements need to be made. And I tell you, government doesn't spend enough time on that. There's too many new ideas all the time, new spending initiatives, but no accountability on the back end. And I, for one, think accountability is extraordinarily important. And, it's fine to put money into programs that are effective and that help make our community safer, make our education better, do the things, accomplish the goals that we've set out to do. But we also have to be willing to look at programs that aren't working and change directions, right? And that's the importance of a legislative body, whether it be the state legislature or Congress, in regularly reviewing the work and the effectiveness of the laws already on the books.
Thank you for that piece of information. We don't want to keep you from walking. You are campaigning tonight, but in a closing message to our viewers, and mostly we are in Stanislaus County and a portion of San Joaquin, what is your message on why your constituents and eligible voters in District 13 should be voting for you rather than your challenger?
Well, my message is simple, and the contrast in this race is very simple. I spent 10 years in the state legislature representing our community, Merced County and Stanislaus County. And in that 10 years, we built a medical school, passed a bipartisan water bond, a bipartisan infrastructure act, doubled the money coming to rural schools in education, and got work done that made our community better. John Duarte's been our congressman for these last 2 years and has been part of the most unproductive Congress in U.S. history. He hasn't passed a single bill, hasn't contributed anything to a safer, more educated, thriving economy community. He's just simply blamed all the problems on the other party, and we've had a highly partisan, highly ineffective Congress. And so if you want somebody who's a right-wing conservative and would rather spend time, talking about our problems and blaming them on others, then John Dwordy's the candidate for you. If you want somebody who's bipartisan, I was the founder of the California Problem Solvers Caucus, a bipartisan group, and who has a record of getting things done, being effective, and working well with others. If that's the direction you think our government should move in, then I'm your candidate, and you should join our campaign to make change, because we don't need more of the same, which is politicians not getting things done and always blaming it on somebody else. We need people that are accountable, that are willing to do the hard work each and every day to represent you. And you have my commitment. If you vote for Adam Gray for Congress, I'm going to work every day with you in mind, and the San Joaquin Valley and the Central Valley in mind, and we're going to make improvements continually in our community to make it the place that we want to live. So would respectfully ask for your vote on November 5th and consideration of this election. And thank you so much for having me on the show this evening. It's always a good visit, and really appreciate the programming that you put together.
Thank you so much for making time for this program. This concludes my conversation with Adam Gray, candidate for the Congressional 13th District. Do not forget to vote this election. Make sure you send in your ballots. Make sure you sign the envelope, no postage necessary, or if you choose to, make sure you take it to a vote center. Thank you again for joining me tonight. We will see you on the next Modern Assyrian.
Gabiane Atoraye depneated Stanislaus County. Gubaya Rashmaya درش مشتعلانة أطرة أمريكا ين presidential elections إلى يوم 5 تشرين تريانا. قانون إيت صدرت جوباية باشم شلدرا ببوستا من يوم تشوى تشرين قمايا هاليوم إسريخا تشرين قمايا. قد هدريتون شموخ جابياته عزيتون الويب سايت theregistertovote.ca.gov. مصيتون مدريتون جوباية ببوستا ينجو صندوق رشمايا ينجو قنطرون جوباية داها بنيتا. أبزه مصيتون عزيتون برسو بايت الخا قنطرون رشمايا قداها بنيتا. قدن قنطرون رشماية مصيتون خا. مدريتون جوباية بوستا. تري هدريتون شموخون قا جوباية. طلا طلبيتون هيرتا قد ترجمتا بليشانا آتورايا وسدرا دجوباية بليشانا آتورايا ين أربا طلبيتون هيرتا قا رشمتا دجوباية قداها سدرا.